And Herbster, I am ready for today.
I am so glad, Rhonda Boyle.
I know, you better fluff up your hair, girl.
It's going to be a good session. We're going to have some good insights.
We are. Come on in and say, hey. We are going to get started and jumpstart in just a second here. All right. Let's see if I can figure out this technology.
Girl, do it.
Boom.
We're here.
Here we are. Hey, Ann Herbster, good to see you.
Good to see you, Rhonda.
I am fluffed up and ready to rock and roll and jumpstart some new coaches.
Awesome.
So we hope you are ready. Come on in, YouTube, hey. And hello, Facebook. We are going to get going here. Let me get this music on. Here we go. I am excited, Ann, because you know what my favorite thing to do is?
What?
Help coaches. Right? I love it. Yeah. Hey, everybody. So I'm Rhonda Boyle, and this is Ann Herbster, and we are the authors of the Coach Business Guide. Yeah. So welcome. The book actually is for any coach. Mm-hmm. It's a step-by-step guide right through five sections of the book to help you identify, create, plan, launch, and grow a thriving coaching practice. So absolutely. Yeah, and show them the mini guide because we want to make sure you have that.
There's an exercise. I'm showing you the exercise. So,
and if you didn't get it, well, if you didn't grab that ahead of time, you want to go to Coach Business Guide. Let me put the link up here. Oh, I'm not, my typer isn't working. Right. Okay, there we go. You can go right there to coachbusinessguide.com/challenge because we have a mini guide to help you walk through and kind of organize the information for today. So we want you to be sure to grab that.
And the guide follows the 5 sections, and we'll walk you through each page and jot down ideas and insights and information so that you can actually get started yourself doing this.
Yes, that is it. Because the world needs more coaches, y'all. I don't know if you know it or not.
A lot of people are hurting. They need help.
They do. And they need new direction. And so that's what we're here to help you actually get going in launching and growing your coaching business. So if you're a new or newer coach, then this call is for you. So welcome, everyone.
So should we get started, Rhonda?
Let's go.
All right. So, the first thing we want to talk about is identify. And really what you're identifying is your challenges, your support mechanisms, and what are some of the next steps that you want to commit to get started. So as you get started, keep in mind that you need support mechanisms. You can't do this alone. This is where it really will help you to find others. And those others can be family, friends, other coaches. Can you find a mentor, somebody that you can work with who can help support you? Because there are going to be times when you're going to get stuck and you need to get unstuck. And the only way to get unstuck is going to be to talk through things, share things, ask for advice and guidance. So, what are those challenges that are affecting you and that get in the way of your launching? And then who can you count on to help you? And you may need some legal advice. You may need some financial advice. So it's not just coaches that you're going to want to look for. And then finally, on the exercise sheet, we wrote down, I want to launch my coaching practice on. Put that date down and then share
a commitment.
Yes, make that commitment. Share that date with other people so they know that you've made a commitment, that you want to start your practice. You want to officially launch on January 1st, 2023. I don't suggest tomorrow. I think it's going to take a little more time than 12 hours or 24 hours, but put a
Right.
date out there that you feel comfortable, and then list the steps that you're going to take to help get there.
Well, you'll be shocked at how much you can get done
Mm-hmm.
too, if you
Yeah.
focus and stop. So
yeah. Yeah, and you got to find time in your day. We know you've got other things going on. You're working, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got other personal commitments. But find time that you can set aside that you can work on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Anne, let's talk about ideal clients.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You really need to figure out the who you are going to coach. And that really needs to be in your mind a specific person. And here's a thing. If someone asks you, like, who do you coach? And you tell us that it's this and that, you need to stop, right? You need to pick one of those. And the reason is because they hear differently. I remember working with a coach, and I know I've told you this story. He was a pastor or a youth pastor, and he loved working with churches and helping them, have their staffing and all that kind of stuff, have people work together better inside of the church office. And chiropractors. And when he told me that, I was like, hold on a minute. Like, they don't even speak the same language. You cannot have in your conversation when you're thinking about and working through these details about your ideal client. So that's really important. And when you also decide, are you going to work with organizations or individuals? Some of you might choose to do both, which is fine, but we do encourage you to pick one, just one, in order to do this work so that you understand the process that we're showing you. We're helping you lay out your coaching practice and what your offerings are.
Right.
And so, this is what we want you to really think about and pick your ideal client based on who you want to work with, not because somebody tells you, that's where you need to be.
Well, or they think, oh, you'll be really good as a career coach, but maybe, just maybe, that's not quite what your passion is. So it really comes down to, what do you want to do, Rhonda? Where do you feel comfortable getting started? And then you can expand and grow. But you're right. Start with one. Map out one fully, and then you can come back and work on another ideal client group. So let's talk about corporate clients. So let's say you've chosen that you want to coach one. We say one to many. You are focusing on more than one, and you want to work with organizations. So corporate organizations, nonprofits, youth groups. It could be, but it's a group of individuals. And what's important about that is, what industry are they going to be in? Are they going to be financial? Are they going to be industrial? Are they going to be nonprofit? Things like that. What are you going to be? Where do you have the experiences? Where do you know people? Where can you look back in your past and say, I know how to get there? There could be industries that have crossover. Rhonda's example, the coach for chiropractors, didn't they get into and work with small medical office people?
Well, exactly. What we found out, I was just trying to figure out, what do those two have in common, the church or the medical, the chiropractor office? Well, he ended up becoming a small medical office coach. And that opened up a whole world for him of, orthopedics, pediatricians, dentists. Any of those fit into it was the crossover that he needed to really be successful.
Right. And so it shows how you can start with one and you can expand to others.
Right.
But start with that one where you've got a real comfort, and understand their challenges. What are their challenges and needs? How do they align with your expertise? How do they align with your learnings, your trainings, your ability that you're really good at? And then, is that aligned with what you want to focus on? Because if there's not that alignment there, then you have a disconnect, and you need to step back and really think through this. So some challenges: productivity, turnover, leadership. What is it that you're going to focus on to help them overcome those challenges? And then what are the topics that you can train on? So, what do you know? what's your comfort level? What do you have knowledge and experience on that you can call on, that you can work with these organizations? Is it leadership? Is it communication? Is it business development? Companies always need help. But is that what you're good in and what you've done? And then, we kind of like to look at value. What value do you bring to the table that will help them? Is it your experience, knowledge, or training? Do you have certifications? What is it in your package that you're going to build about yourself that is going to say, this is why you need to work with me. This is why I am really good and will help you solve your problem.
Yeah. And they'll know it. It's helping them hear you out there among all the noise. Right.
And breaking through the clutter, Rhonda. There's so much going at them. You've got to be able to find the right words and messages that they're going to look and say, I need to talk to that person.
Yeah. Hey, let's check in with our audience real quick. Joanne says a business coach consultant can help put your business hat on, provide a proper perspective for financing your business, and even help you with systems. So this is why you need different coaches for different aspects of your business, for sure. Thanks, Joanne. And then another comment, a coach who works with coaches specifically keeps you moving forward step by step, helps you get clear and get started. And the value of accountability is huge. Yeah, you want people who will hold your feet to the fire.
It's the people, we've worked with coaches in the past, and being able to ask the right questions and push them in the right direction, or align them in the right direction is probably a better word, to help them achieve the goals they want to achieve.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about individual clients, because, if you're working with a corporation, it's completely different when you work with individual clients. You still have to have some of the same basics, like who are they, where do they live, work, and play, the demographics, and you need to know their challenges. What's the big deal? Are they having trouble with work, life, family, career? And so really being able to get clear on those things is going to be important to you so that you can speak to them and understanding their needs. What are they trying to overcome or change? Maybe they're trying to find a new job, or, a new relationship or something, right?
Or a healthy body. Maybe they want to get fit and be able to run a marathon, or this comes back to what you're coaching. What is it that you're going to be coaching on, right?
Exactly. And why you need to be so narrow. And there's also a difference between what they think they need and what they really need, but you kind of have to let them know you're fulfilling what they think they need. It's sort of like roundabout way, to make sure that because you can see sometimes better than they can, right? They've been spinning around with the problem for how long, and how do you help them? You've got to get specific. Yes, we know you coach them, right? But what are you helping them do? How are you helping them? And what is it that you're accomplishing? It's super important that you know that.
And Rhonda, this runs right into the transformational journey.
Right.
Because it's, how are you helping them transform from where they're at to where they want and need to be? And, understanding their pain points, understanding those emotions and feelings that they have. And even in an organizational level, there are emotions and feelings where you've got a dysfunctional team, or where you've got a leader who's got the skills, but just needs help fine-tuning their leadership skills to keep the team working together smoothly.
Or keep their job.
Yes, absolutely. Right. It's this whole transformation is understanding their suffering, and then helping to see what will happen if they don't change. So, in our book, we tell a story, we talk about an individual who's in the auto industry and who just is frustrated and is tired and needs to change. What happens is that they come home and that affects their home life. So, excuse me, what will change if they don't change? What will happen if they don't change is so important. And then where do they want to be? That goes back to defining their needs. And what does it look like? So they may say, I want a job, but you may help them see, I want a job in this industry doing these types of things, making this type of money, or I want a relationship that does this, or I want peace in my family. So help them see what it is that they want and do it in a way that they feel confident that this is where they're going to end up being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to have that hope. That's really what you're doing, is giving them hope that they can finally get to the bottom of this. Let's check in with our audience real quick. So Joanne says, you can get on your ideal client without knowing absolutely everything about their struggles, right? You can figure out some of that stuff or their expertise or experiences. Coaching does have an intuitive component that you can trust in yourself. And that's true, Joanne. That's true. However, to make money, it really needs, so coaching is intuitive, but it's the crafting of your package, your workshop, and your message is why we're doing all the work, right? It's where most coaches are intuitive is in understanding their client. So you've just got to get it into the language so they can hear it. And then let's see, you can get cleared in defining your ideal client without knowing absolutely everything. Yes, that's true. That's the same. That's a little bit different. I think you said it. It's for some reason it came in here twice. Yeah. So yeah, it is true that intuition is important for you. You've got to trust your gut on so much of this. Yeah. You do need to know a lot about your client to get it into the right language. That's really what it's all about. Yeah. Yeah. And you may not know everything. You'll uncover things as you start working with clients. But Rhonda, coaches sometimes think, okay, I've got my certification. I'm hanging out my shingle. I'm ready to go. Let's talk about why you need to create your workshop or coaching package before you really hang out that shingle. Let's talk about why that's so important. Well, you have to. Well, first of all, you want a clear offering so you can have a stable income, so that you can aim at one client and build a reputation around solving that one problem. Yeah. So you're the go-to person on that issue, right? That's really because otherwise I remember getting my certification and knowing this was for everyone. So when somebody said, who do you coach? Oh, everybody, anyone. No, that's not going to bring you a client. I promise. You either are coaching mothers or you're coaching managers in an operation, or you're coaching, financial engineer, or you're coaching engineers. They all hear differently. And that's why you have to have a package. So you want to also define your materials of what you think you're going to use in your workshop or in your package, right? Or have a master list available so you can pick and choose, to what you have access to, and then you can figure out what you need to create. That's right. And having that list, you may start out and have very little on that, but that's okay, because you know what? You may not know what you need until you create your workshop. So we're on that creating a coaching package or workshop exercise sheet. And in here, I'm going to talk about workshop, because I think this is a huge opportunity for coaches if they're comfortable and if they have something that they can offer. So you always start with what's your basic information. What will it look like? How long is it going to run? 2, 4, 6 hours? Is it going to be multiple days? How many people are you going to have in your workshop at one time? All this needs to be considered and aligned with what you're offering. You got to have a basic description, basic information about that. And by the way, you may have more than one. Let's start with one. Let's get with just one and do a really good job with one, and then you can go to others. Right. You've created the basic. You want to identify objectives and outcomes. And why? Because organizations are going to want to hear, what are the objectives that you have for this workshop? And what outcomes can I, as the client, expect my participants
to accomplish during that experience, however long that is. So it needs to be defined. Here's what I'm going to do, but here's what you're going to get. And here's what your participants are going to walk away with. And what do you hope to accomplish by the end? And you want to be descriptive. You want to be able to put information in there that a client is going to look at and say, I see that. It's a measurement of success. I get it. So then materials and exercise.
I want to add something just
Please,
real quick
Rhonda.
here under objectives and outcomes. For those of you who are wanting to work in business, because that's where where your skills are and so forth, this is the language of business. Objectives and outcomes, that's why they have to have that. That's the language that they use inside of the corporation. So we're going back to language and the words you use and your messaging so that you reach the right person. That person's going to want to know objectives and outcomes. They just will.
And you want to be able to explain that. My workshop is a half day. It provides XYZ. And at the end of it, participants will accomplish X and will walk away with Y, and they will have the experience to do Z, X, Y, Z. So you can do that. So materials and the exercises that you're going to use, here's where you've identified the basic information. You know how long it is. You know your objectives. What are you going to do? What's going to happen during that? You're probably not going to stand up and talk for X number of hours.
No.
You're going to have interactions. You're going to have role play. You're going to have exercises. You may have pre-work. What is it that you're going to need? Here's where you're going to create that list. Go back to the define your materials section that Rhonda talked about and say, oh, I don't have these 3 exercises. I have to create them, find them, develop them, whatever it is you think you need to do. But this is going to help you. A slide deck, your worksheets. You may have a script, video, audio, visual. Pull all that together. And then finally, actually, follow-up planning.
This is where so many of us fail, Anne.
We
like
fall
no kidding.
down. And what we fall down on is that next step, that next revenue opportunity, that next workshop, that opportunity to coach one-on-one. You need to incorporate this into your description. So when you talk about it, you can say that here are the next steps for the attendees. Here's what they're going to commit to. Because I find when I've done training, if I don't have them commit to something, the participants just walk out. But you need them to commit to doing something, and that then leadership or management can check back in and say, did you do this? Because that then shows the value of the training you're providing. Need a feedback form or survey, not just to tell you how you did, but get those testimonials, because you're going to want those testimonials when you have to go out and sell your services.
Did you just say sell your services?
I know. We'll get to this later. We're going
to take a deep breath, everybody. Breathe.
And then finally, you've done all this work. You're not done. You need a flow. You need to take however long it is and map out what you're going to do from A to Z during that time. But remember, you need to have extra materials, because sometimes things go faster. And then you also need in your mind, think, what can I cut if things go slower? So flexibility is key here. In our book, we did provide an outline that you can follow for mapping out your session. And later we'll talk about an upcoming program that's going to help get it done. But this is a really important part so that you're not going to get caught standing flat-footed and having nothing to do.
Oh my gosh. Worst case scenario is that you've got another 30 minutes and you have no materials.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk about one-on-one. We talked earlier about some of the things that you have to have, and that's where we are, right, Anne? We're talking about the one-on-one. You want to have that again so that you have a sustainable opportunity to make money. You want to point to people. Otherwise, you're doing just a one-off session that doesn't lead anywhere. Keeping a client with you for a certain period of time gives you an opportunity to really press home the things that you want to share with them and want to guide them through. So this is why it's important. And so anyway, figuring out again who you're serving, how many sessions you need, and how you're going to help them, what those objectives are. You have to have the same things.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to use that language with a one-on-one, right, as you do with a corporate client, but your one-on-one client is expecting an outcome also, and it needs to tie back to their challenges and the transformation that you have outlined earlier, right? And you want to be prepared when you're in your sessions so that you can grab your exercise, or you know exactly which worksheet you're going to use with the client this session, you know, or what needs to be developed. And you're also going to
can I interject for a second here?
Yeah.
One of the things that I find really helpful is I write down a list of questions that I think I might ask, and have more than you think you're going to need. Because sometimes you've got to have a client who's just not participating, and and make them open-ended questions, not yes, no questions. So just a little sidebar there. It's something you also want to have.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see here. We talked about mapping. Oh, we haven't talked about mapping, right? We do want to map out the sessions.
Yeah.
So, and you've got to be flexible, because you know what? The truth is that you are totally dependent on what your client comes to the table with that session, right? So you've got to be able to adapt and juggle things, you know, maybe on session 3. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So be flexible. And let's talk about pricing, because this is.
Yeah. So we moved on to how to plan your success and pricing. We put those two words together because they are critical words. Pricing is the hardest thing we all do. Setting a price and talking about it, it's really hard. And you know, so we may be really good negotiating, but when it comes to us and doing this, and the biggest struggle we have is with ourselves, right, Rhonda?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. It is.
But let's be honest, people expect you to charge.
They do.
And I will tell you this, I've done workshops in my prior career where we offered free, and then we offered at a small price. And guess what? We got better participation at a small price, because when there's a value assigned to it, people will pay, and they see that it's worthwhile. Don't get this confusing with perhaps an introductory or complimentary session. But what we're getting at is, it's when people look at $10, or let's say $100 versus $150, or something like that in comparison, they're going to say, oh, maybe I'm getting more at that higher price. So how do you set your price? Let's talk about this. There's some easy steps. We talk about this in the book. Competition. Who's your competition? What are other coaches charging? You need to go check that out. And other coaches like yourself. So identify the coaches that are offering similar services, see what they're charging, look at your experience, and come up with a price that you feel is really good. And then how do you set that price? You set it by what you feel comfortable and what you think the market will bear. So you may see a range of prices. I like to pick with the middle. Sometimes the middle or on the higher end is better, but don't be the cheapest, because sometimes that is too. You want to pick something. Understanding competition, understanding and capturing your costs. All right. What you do and what the things you pay for need to be incorporated into your price so that you can create a revenue stream. So you can make money.
You need to make money.
Yes. So what are your costs? Excuse me. So for example, you're producing a workshop. You're offering pre-work. You're providing materials. All of that's going to cost money. You set a price that generates an income. And, you know, we all have a tendency of saying, oh, my costs are X. My value is $500. I'm going to charge $200. Don't start low, because it's so much harder to raise your rate once you start low. And it doesn't always work, your ability to do that. So what you do is you show the value. Let's say your value for your workshop is $2,500. You show an introductory rate of $1,000, or you show an introductory rate if you're doing it an individual, you're offering it to groups instead of organizations. You may say $4.99 per person, special introductory one time, so that they know that this is not going to happen again. And then set your financial goals, how much money you want to make, how much time you have, determine your profit for each workshop and coaching package. You should be making money every time you do this.
Yes, you should. And it's going to take this really evaluation in order to make sure that happens.
Right.
Truly. Otherwise, you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really not what you're supposed to do. And that's not going to create a thriving business, you know, and keep you moving forward. And, you know, one thing I want to go back to that you talked about earlier is it's the hardest part of your business and the biggest struggle with yourself. And that's true. Your money mindset.
Yeah.
We say in the book that you will only charge for your services what you believe in your mind you are worth. Right. Oh my goodness. You want to write that down because it's the truth. And I'm going to put it, I'm typing it out here, putting it in the chat box for you. Yeah. You will only charge for your services what you believe in your mind you are worth. And you guys know that. I mean, intuitively, you know, I'm telling you the truth. Most coaches are guilty of undervaluing themselves, especially women. So they undercharge. And you're providing a valuable service and you need to get paid and you need to make money. And we do have a great blog post because your monkey mind. And can you pop the link in the chat box?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Okay, because it is kind of a monkey mind, you know, and you may not even notice, right? It's so ingrained in you. Oftentimes, I know a common phrase is, oh, I'd love to do it, but I can't afford it. But you never checked your bank account. Like it really, like you didn't give it any thought. It's like an automatic reaction. Well, that's your monkey mind, your money mindset. And it comes from, you know, the way you grew up around money. And then if you have any relationships, they bring money into the picture and all this. So we really want to encourage you, you know, to start understanding your own personal challenges with money, know your money mindset, and how you might even spiritualize money. I'm guilty of that. Like I'm guilty of spiritualizing money. And Anne knows this. I mean, we work together on these things. So, but it's only been honestly through the examination of these things that I've been able to come to an understanding and be able to put in these, you know, things to help me, like little guardrails.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know, Rhonda, it's I think if we can understand what it's costing.
Yes.
And you put all of your expenses down and you see that, it helps you say, oh, I'm losing money. I'm not making money. So that'll help get you moving in the right direction. And the other part is I'm worth it. You've got to say to yourself, I am worth this. I need you. And you know what? If somebody says that it's too much, then perhaps they're not your right client.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to say one other thing about the money mindset. You can actually tell, like if you set a price of $1,000 for a 6-week package, let's just say, and you physically feel awkward when you share that information, it's your money mindset that's coming in. It's causing that feeling, that physical feeling.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of work around it.
You have.
I've had to, right? Like I've had to.
Yes.
So we really want to try to save you from that if you can examine it in advance.
And you know what? This is where you can work with other coaches and mentors because you're not alone in this. This isn't just you having this.
It's most coaches, Anne.
It is. So work with other coaches, practice it. You know, you can practice talking about what your fees are, what you're charging. Yeah. Well, let's go on. The last exercise is grow and market your business. And let's talk about that. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about the brand. And, you know, your brand is how you show up. And your brand is marketing yourself. And it's all about selling and showing and the visibility and how people see you. And we get to sales, and we'll talk about sales. Rhonda's going to talk about referrals and networking and that type of thing. But we know that's a bad word, but it's the reality. You've got to get yourself out there. So when you market yourself, it's how you show up, imagery. You know, what photos do you choose when you are putting information, or your memes, when you've got images that you're using on Facebook, or however, what other sites you're using? What color have you chosen? This is all an emotional. It's all how it's hitting people. Your logo, you know, everybody says, oh, I need a logo. And the first thing they think about in marketing is, I got to have a logo. You don't need a logo.
Or a website.
You don't need a website. You can have a landing page. You can go out and create something. There are tools out there. Your logo can be your name in fake signature, not your real signature. It can be your name in block letters, the name of your company, you know, so you don't have to start big. You can start reasonable and grow over time as your business grows. Barter. Can you find somebody, say, hey, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. It's a great way to get someone. So Rhonda, let's talk about referrals and how we can, and how networking, because I know that's a hot topic.
It is, because, you know, Anne, you and I have done some surveys out on LinkedIn and in our Facebook group, and we have learned that most coaches get their business from referrals or networking.
Yeah.
So guess what? You need to figure that out, right? You need to work on those two areas of finding business. So referrals usually come from people who you know, like, and trust. They're people you've worked with before. And Anne mentioned testimonials. You know, you want to get testimonials from these people, and you want to make it easy for them. Like, you want to have a link to, or something. You want to ask them if they will provide referrals. Like, do you know anyone who is a blah, 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 blah? Like, you got to be very specific. Do you know, if you're a family coach, do you know a family who's in trouble, who has teenagers, right? You've got it narrowed down. So you want to ask and really nurture the people who can give you referrals. You know, nurture those relationships, not just for what you can get, but what can you give them? Like, what is the reciprocity there?
Yeah.
So that's probably where your first business is going to come from, is from referrals. And then you're probably going to get business from networking, because you're going to start getting out and about. You're going to start going to networking events. And we want you to be prudent about that. Make it count, because networking is an art, and it's not just about getting your name out there. It's about finding your partners that you can refer to. It's not just what you get, it's what you can give. So it's about helping others. And when you go to a networking event, only go to those that your ideal client may be there, or the people who can help you, right?
Right.
You can check for events in your area, like through the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, alumni groups, clubs and organizations, maybe your church. It all depends, again, on who your ideal client is.
Where they are, right.
And then when you're hunting for your prospect, you know, you want to have, when you're out there in a networking environment, you really want to only get about make two really solid connections. You know, really get to know that person and their business. And we have some tricks in the book that can help you with your language and how to keep the conversation on the other person, because that's where, you know, you want to be focused on in a networking event, right? If you want to explain about your business or something, you can go to a coffee, make an appointment with them later. But for the sake of that, just have a goal of making two new connections. And don't go alone if you're awkward. Go with somebody else. Grab somebody and go along. There are people who would love to take you around and introduce you to.
Yeah. So social media, you know, I'm going to jump in. pick one or two. You don't need to be on 5, 6, 10 different sites.
Mm-mm.
Pick the site where your ideal client is and be consistent and post, but post relevant information, post articles. They don't have to be articles written by you, but share information that's going to be relevant to the audience, but always make sure that you've got a link back to how they can find you and how they can come after you. And then, have a calendar schedule. You can create an editorial calendar, articles on Monday, memes on Tuesdays, video Wednesday, Thursday, you go back to an article, etc. And then the other thing is outsourcing.
Well, and that editorial calendar, once you figure it out, you get to outsource it.
Right. You find somebody, a teenager that you trust, somebody who's going to help you. Or there are free programs out there that you can use that will help you post 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance.
Right.
And then finally,
and we're using them.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Absolutely. And then blogs and articles and writings. If you're really good at it and you really like it, this is an opportunity for you to take it from the content you have and get information out there, relevant, tied to your ideal client, tied to their challenges, tied to solutions and opportunities, but you can build your following. So that's another way that you can get yourself out there.
And it takes time.
It does. This isn't going to happen overnight. We've put a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of ideas. You can start at the beginning and go back and dive into this. And wow, we've gone through a lot of stuff here, Rhonda.
We've basically taken a high level race through the whole book, really, because we do have those sections that we really go into great detail in there. And we're so glad that you came today. We know we covered a lot, and we hope that this helps you. And we hope you got some new ideas and suggestions on launching and growing. And we also put in some videos that go into more detail. They came in just for signing up for the mini guide. You can go and review those as well. We know that you have challenges ahead, and so don't forget to find mentors and other coaches that can help you.
Right. Exactly. And we have another way of helping you, and that we're going to have a new Launch and Grow Success program that's going to launch September 20th. It's going to be Tuesday nights for 90 minutes, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. And during this, we are going to share and dive deeper into this and provide insights and information and work with you through the process of launching your coaching practice. And it runs for 6 weeks, and it's a great opportunity for you to jumpstart your program and get yourself launched as a coach. So what's all in the program, Rhonda?
Well, let's start with, first of all, we want to kind of warn you, we've already got people registered and paid, and we only have room for 6 because we really want to make sure everybody gets the attention that they need.
Right.
You all are coming from a different place in your business. So we're going to take each section at a time and, make sure that we answer everything that you need to know in that section before moving forward. Right. And we've tested these exercises. We know they work and will move you forward absolutely in your business. And it's an opportunity really for you to learn and grow, with other coaches and, get new ideas, right? Things you haven't really thought through. And it does require you to work independently, but Anne, let's tell them about the video support.
So there's also going to be videos that we have created for each of the exercises. So this package isn't just come and have 90 minutes.
Right.
The package is we provide the book, which we'll mail. We've got the exercises workbook, which takes the exercises out of the book and puts them into a PDF fillable forms. We have 39 training videos, 6 hours worth of additional training and insights so that you can go and pick which video because you're stuck on the ideal client exercise. And we go through that in depth. And then we'll have our live sessions. So it's a great opportunity. And we have an introductory price. Do we not, Rhonda?
We do. Let me see where
It's
are
two,
we? I have missed my
yes.
cue here.
So it's $249.
There we go.
And the value that we've put on this is staggering 5,450, because when you look at all those videos and the exercises in an hour and a half of office hours with us in a small group setting, learning from each other, tremendous value and tremendous opportunity to jumpstart your career.
Yeah, it's a lot more than an hour and a half because it's
Yeah.
2 of us. So it's times 2. So really, it's a great opportunity for you to really come in and get really clear and get going. You know, the world needs more coaches. We say it over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, in our training, because it's true. And I
Yeah.
think you guys can look at the world today and know that there are a lot of people who need to make changes. They're looking for solutions. They've got issues around whatever. And, you know, it can run the gamut from relationships to jobs to weight loss to pick your thing.
And
But
we have
really,
one user just said they've registered already. Yeah. Good.
yay, good,
Can't
good,
wait.
good. So we are so looking forward to working with you. And, you know, we're going to be talking about this for the next couple of weeks so that we can fill the training, because we really do want to, we know that there's dynamics in that group activity. And we're going to tell you this too. It will not be offered at this price again, Anne.
That's right.
Anne won't let me.
No. And remember what we talked about when we were in pricing. It's okay to offer introductory, but
that's right.
Special.
Yeah. So we hope you guys are going to, you know, model the things that we are offering here, because we really are building this from scratch, just like you are.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we really look forward to working with the 6 of you who are going to be joining us in September. So on that note, Anne, let's close up shop. Any questions, just hit us in the group underneath this video, and we cannot wait to see you next time.
This has been awesome. Hope we got some ideas, some suggestions, and we look forward to seeing you again.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Bye, everyone.